Okay, board members, we all squared away? Okay, here we go. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Community Unit School District 300 Board of Education, I would like to thank you for being in attendance both virtually and in person for tonight's board meeting. At this time, I would like to reconvene the meeting of the Community Unit School District 300 Board of Education to order for Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Burkett, present. Fiorentino.
Present.
Lamarca. McKindy.
Present.
Scarpino.
Present.
Thomas.
Present.
Zettler.
Present.
You have 7 board members present.
Thank you. Dr. Smith.
Sorry. At this time, I'd like to invite Principal Stephanie Watson from Liberty Elementary School and her students to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Parents, you're welcome to come forward to take pictures as well.
Hold on. Can you do that? Or is there, because the mic's not working too well. Go ahead and try again.
Okay. Good evening, Board of Education members, Dr. Smith, family and community members. My name is Stephanie Watson, and I am the very proud principal of Liberty Elementary School. I'm here tonight with Assistant Principal Jason Neiman and 5th grade teacher Bree Fowler, and several of our 5th grade STAR ambassadors. Mrs. Fowler founded the STAR Ambassador team over 3 years ago, and today it has grown into a group of 80 5th grade students spread out over 5 different committees, all of which add student voice to our decision making, contribute to a positive culture at our school, and even give back to the community. Mrs. Fowler and I co-facilitate the STAR Ambassadors, and together with their teachers, we have chosen the impressive students here tonight to represent Liberty and the 5 STAR Ambassador teams. The Beautification Team, which works to create a welcoming and safe school environment. The Assembly Team, which works to plan and lead our all-school assemblies, including our Veterans Day Assembly last week. The New Student Tour Team, which helps new students feel more at home at Liberty by giving them a school tour when they first arrive, and even doing so in that student's native language. The Office Helper Team, which supports the main office with projects large and small. And finally, the Community Service Team, which does service projects that support local organizations such as the D300 Food Pantry or local homeless shelters, which they recently did with their Socktober project. These students provide an invaluable contribution to Liberty, and we are so proud of them. They are Miranda Velasquez, Nicholas Hernandez, Aubrey Gentman, Nathan Hernandez, McKenna Thorin, Alyssa Rusanina, Fernanda Chacon, and Dara Adeyanju. At this time, I'd like to ask all audience members to stand as they are able, and I will ask all students to please turn and face the flag to lead us in tonight's pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job, parents. Great job. You are welcome to exit if you want. Unless you want to stick around for the meeting, you're allowed to do that too. Moving along, we have the approval of the agenda. We have made one change. There will be no second closed session. Do I have a motion to approve the amended agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Fiorentino,
Aye.
McKindy,
Aye.
Lamarca,
Aye.
Burkett, aye. Thomas.
Aye.
Scarpino,
Aye.
Zettler. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Dr. Smith?
The District 300 Board of Education has the honor of recognizing members who have served the district for 30 years or more. During tonight's meeting, we will recognize individuals who have milestones of 30 and 35 years of service in the district. On behalf of the Board of Education, I would like to thank each staff member for their tremendous dedication to our students and to our community. At this time, I'd like to call Assistant Superintendent, all of the assistant suits of schools to the podium, but specifically, Mr. Jorge Almodovar will start us off with tonight's recognition.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. We will begin our first recognition tonight with Pamela Crumsey. Pam, if you can please proceed to the front of the room.
Aye.
Okay. Congratulations to Pam Crumsey, who currently serves as a special education classroom paraprofessional at Parkview Elementary School. Pam is celebrating 30 years in District 300. Parkview Elementary School Principal Kim Wright has shared the following about Pam. We are so lucky to have Pam at Parkview Elementary. She is a joy to work with. Our entire school community loves and respects her. She is a dedicated paraprofessional who brings boundless patience, compassion, and positivity to our school every day. She does more than just support our students academically. She also supports the well-being of students, helping them feel seen, understood, and valued. At this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Pam's 30 years of service to District 300.
It's a small world.
At this time, I would like to invite the Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Jeffrey Herb, to the podium to continue tonight's recognition.
Seems to have disappeared. Fantastic. Good evening. I would now like to invite Michelle DeRay to the front of the room. Congratulations to Michelle DeRay, who currently serves as 5th grade teacher at Gilbert's Elementary School. Michelle is celebrating 30 years in District 300. Gilbert's Elementary School Principal Tom Resnick had shared the following about Michelle. Every year, Michelle works to develop a classroom that focuses on building a positive classroom community. She cares about her students and is willing to collaborate with others to support their individual growth. This year, I even had the privilege of meeting one of Michelle's first students. The two still keep in contact, which shows the impact one teacher can have on the life of a student. At this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Michelle's 30 years of service to District 300. I'd now like to invite Dr. Catherine Flanes to the front of the room. Congratulations to Dr. Catherine Flanes, who currently serves as a 7th grade science teacher at Westfield Community School. Catherine is celebrating 30 years in District 300. Westfield Community School Principal Jennifer Breeze has shared the following about Catherine. As a middle school science teacher, Dr. Flanes has made it her mission to spark a love for science in her students, consistently bringing her content to life in ways that engage and inspire. She believes that her teaching extends beyond the classroom, feeling a strong responsibility to ensure her students are prepared for the world beyond. She is also a caring, giving colleague and with an incredible sense of humor. At this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Catherine's 30 years of service to District 300.
Thanks for your service.
I'd now like to invite Marin Lipley to the front of the room. Congratulations to Marin Lipley, who currently serves as a first grade teacher at Liberty Elementary School. Marin is celebrating 30 years in District 300. Liberty Elementary School Principal Stephanie Watson has shared the following about Marin. During Marin's tenure in District 300, she has taught kindergarten, first, second, and fifth grades at Meadowdale, Sleepy Hollow, and Liberty schools with dedication, heart, and passion. She has shaped the lives of countless students by inspiring them to be curious, kind, and confident learners. Meanwhile, her colleagues are inspired by her commitment, wisdom, and most importantly, her great sense of humor. At this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Marin's 30 years of service to District 300.
Thanks for your service.
I'd now like to invite Judy Uvan to the front of the room. Congratulations to Judy Uvan, who currently serves as a cross-categorical resource teacher at Dundee Middle School. Judy is celebrating 30 years in District 300. Dundee Middle School Principal Leo Labrie has shared the following about Judy. Mrs. Uvan is an irreplaceable presence at DMS, a cornerstone of our community who embodies the heart and soul of what makes our school community exceptional. Her unwavering dedication and passion for teaching inspire both students and staff alike, making her a true role model for all. We have all gained invaluable insights from Mrs. Uvan, and our lives are richer for having her as part of our journey. At this time, I would like to invite the audience to join me in celebrating Judy's 30 years of service to District 300.
Thanks for your service.
I would now like to invite Janet Kamiziak to the front of the room. Congratulations to Janet Kamiziak, who currently serves as a math interventionist at Dundee Highlands Elementary School. Janet is celebrating 35 years in District 300. Dundee Highlands Elementary School Principal Doug Corey has shared the following about Janet. Serving in multiple roles over her tenure, Janet understands the grit, determination, and dedication it takes to inspire all students in our community. To her, education matters. It matters now, and it will matter tomorrow. This is evident in her unwavering willingness to grow and become a better educator every day. Dundee Highlands is forever grateful for the dedication, service, and wisdom she has bestowed upon all of us. At this time, I would like to invite the audience to join me in celebrating Janet's 35 years of service to District 300.
Thanks for your service.
At this time, I'd like to invite Assistant Superintendent Kelly Manalfi to the podium to continue tonight's recognition.
Thank you, Dr. Herb. I'd now like to invite Michael Davis to the front of the room. Congratulations to Michael Davis, who currently serves as a social studies teacher at Dundee Crown High School. Michael is celebrating 30 years in District 300. Dundee Crown High School interim principal Dr. Asia Gurney has shared the following about Michael. Mike is dedicated to the Dundee Crown School community. A true lover of books, he inspires students to embrace learning, both inside and outside of the classroom. Beyond his role as a teacher, he is a coach for football and track. His interactions within our school have earned him the trust and appreciation of students who value his genuine encouragement and commitment to their success. At this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Michael's 30 years of service to D300. I'd now like to invite Lance Huber. Congratulations to Lance Huber, who currently serves as a business teacher at Dundee Crown High School. Lance is celebrating 30 years in District 300. Dundee Crown High School interim principal Dr. Asia Gurney has shared the following about Lance. On a daily basis, Lance is visible in the hallways, in the cafeteria, and around the building, interacting positively with students and staff. Lance has been a staple in the coaching community at Dundee Crown. Through his coaching years, he has helped many athletes discover their potential as he focuses on their individual opportunities for growth. At this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Lance's 30 years of service to District 300.
Thanks for your service.
Thank you.
I would now like to invite Tracy Williams to the front of the room. Congratulations to Tracy Williams, who serves as a driver education teacher at Dundee Crown High School. Tracy is also celebrating 30 years in District 300. Dundee Crown High School interim principal Dr. Asia Gurney has shared the following about Tracy. We would like to recognize Tracy for her consistent dedication and hard work as the PE and driver education department representative. Tracy manages the intricate tasks of overseeing driver education permits, scheduling, and submitting necessary paperwork to the state. She continually goes above and beyond to help students achieve their goal of obtaining a driver's license. At this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Tracy's 30 years of service to District 300.
Thanks for your service.
At this time, I would like to invite Assistant Superintendent Chris Sainsbury to the podium to continue tonight's recognition.
Thank you, Mrs. Manalfi. I'd now like to invite Carrie Zeed Branstead to the front of the room. Congratulations to Carrie Zeed Branstead, who currently serves as an instructional coach at Newbert Elementary School. Carrie is celebrating 30 years in District 300. Newbert Elementary School Principal Shalyn Leishman has shared the following about Carrie. Carrie is an invaluable asset to Newbert Elementary, always bringing a positive attitude and genuine love for learning that energizes everyone around her. She supports our teachers by providing them with effective strategies, personalized feedback, and resources that inspire creative, impactful teaching. Her unwavering commitment to fostering a positive learning environment helps all of us to achieve our best. At this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Carrie's 30 years of service in District 300.
Thanks, Stephanie.
I would now like to invite Mrs. Kimberly Dornbos to the front of the room. Congratulations to Kim Dornbos, who currently serves as a 5th grade teacher at Sleepy Hollow Elementary School. Kim is celebrating 30 years in District 300. Sleepy Hollow Elementary School principal, Dr. Angela Ranke, has shared the following about Kim. Kim values relationships with colleagues and students and is driven to increase student belonging. She has a gift for building a strong classroom community and partners with the local police department to provide extra support for our school. Our Sleepy Hollow families are thankful for all of the ways Kim has helped their children, our children, prepare for middle school and beyond. At this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Kim's 30 years of service to District 300.
Thanks for the service.
And now I'd like to invite Mrs. Diane Herman to the front of the room. Congratulations to Diane Herman, who currently serves as a kindergarten teacher at Sleepy Hollow Elementary School. Diane is celebrating 30 years in District 300. Sleepy Hollow Elementary School principal, Dr. Angela Ranke, has shared the following about Diane. Diane has been serving families in Sleepy Hollow for, again, over 30 years. After finishing her student teaching assignment at Sleepy Hollow, she student taught 2nd grade for 4 years and then kindergarten for 26 years. She is the perfect teacher for parents who have a child experiencing school for the very first time. When students at Sleepy Hollow are asked who their trusted adult is, many respond, Diane Herman, Mrs. Herman. At this time, I invite the audience to join me in celebrating Diane's 30 years of service to District 300.
Thanks for your service.
Are the spouses here of our recipients, spouses or significant others? If you wouldn't mind just standing up, please, because this is a partnership. It truly is.
Continuing on with recognition. On November 11th, the district celebrated National School Psychology Appreciation Week. The observance allows us to recognize the critical role of our school psychologists and their role in nurturing the well-being of our students. On behalf of District 300, please join me in expressing gratitude to our school psychologists for their dedicated efforts in promoting positive mental health among students. Tomorrow, November 20th, we proudly celebrate National Education Support Professionals Day, which serves as an opportunity to recognize the essential work of our education support professionals. In District 300, these individuals include our secretaries, clerical staff, specialists, administrative staff, food service workers, paraprofessionals, and hall monitors and safety staff. all of whom are committed to the student success and ensuring that our schools operate efficiently and effectively. On behalf of District 300, I extend my heartfelt appreciation for our education support professionals. The impact they have in our district with our students and staff is truly profound. We're going to keep celebrating tonight. November 22nd, District 300 will celebrate Substitute Educators Day, which recognizes the invaluable contributions of substitute educators, including those here in District 300. Substitute educators play a vital role in maintaining continuity of education, ensuring our students receive the high-quality instruction they deserve in the absence of a regular instructor. On behalf of School District 300, I'd like to thank our substitute educators for their support and hard work. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Scarpino, our board president, who will recognize our District 300 veterans.
And on the board, we also have another veteran, Emmanuel Thomas. So E and I, E was in the Navy, I was in the Army, so we're going to have a little Army-Navy competition here. Go ahead, E.
All right. On November 11th, District 300 joined the nation in recognizing Veterans Day. In honor of the observation, our staff hosted a variety of educational activities intended to help our students recognize the sacrifices made by those who have served our nation. We are proud to have many veterans within our District 300 community, individuals whose devotion to both our country and our students sets a powerful example. On behalf of District 300, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the following members of our District 300 family who have self-reported their military service. Randy Bruce, Jacob Crenshaw, Iliam Dowhey, Carrie Donovo, Evelyn Dotson, Dana Garnett, Louis Garvin, Gregory Hatzog, Carlos Hernandez, Eric Hunt, Kyle Lobdell, Daniel Martins, and Dr. David Scarpino.
Felicia Maxima, Stephen Nakamura, David Nowak, Leander Portocullis, Robert Quintno, Kenneth Ransom, Amanda Reintmeister, Stevie Rivera, Vincent Saratella, Vince C. Fenzies, and I apologize, Thomas Sitke, Jason Smith, Michael Storer, Emmanuel Thomas, Danielle Vittel, and Daniel Wagner. And are there any other individuals who've worn the uniform and served in the audience? I don't want to leave anybody out.
Or if your name was called and you're in the audience,
Yeah,
you
if
can
you're-
stand
yeah,
up too.
please. Man.
Up next, we have Mr. Mark Wetzel at the podium, our Deputy Superintendent, and he's going to recognize our board members this evening.
The recognitions roll, yeah. Good evening, Board of Education, Superintendent Smith, and community members. November 15th was School Board Members Day in Illinois. On behalf of our staff, students, and community, I would like to extend our deepest appreciation for each of our board members. Thank you, Board President Dr. David Scarpino. Thank you, Board Vice President Nancy Zettler. Thank you, Board Secretary Christine Burkett. Thank you, Board Member Steve Fiorentino. Thank you, Board Member Leslie Lamarca. Thank you, Board Member Tola Makinde. And thank you, Board Member Emmanuel Thomas. Our board members volunteer their time and they serve out of passion to impact public education for our community. They do this without being paid. It's all volunteer service. Their contributions extend far beyond this boardroom. They engage with stakeholders throughout the community to ensure the best possible environment for our students. They adopt, monitor, and enforce policies. They monitor budgeting practices and vote on district initiatives. They actively oversee the implementation of the strategic plan and support a wide variety of district and building activities. And they work to ensure the district fulfills its mission of providing engaging and inclusive educational experiences that empower and equip all students to discover, innovate, and succeed now and in the future. It's our board members' passion for education, their belief in the potential of every child, and their support for our educators that allows District 300 to improve, succeed, and thrive. Thank you for your service. Earlier this year, you heard me speak about our Adopt a Board Member tradition. Tonight, I'm excited to inform you that we have administrators from your schools who are here to recognize you. Principals and assistant principals, when I call your name, please proceed to the board dais to thank your respective board members with a small gift. We have a certificate for you as well. Sleepy Hollow Elementary School Principal Dr. Angela Ranke and Assistant Principal Crystal Farkashek, if you could please come forward. Sleepy Hollow's adopted board member is Board President Dr. David Scarpino.
Thank you so much.
Dundee Highlands Elementary School Principal Doug Corey, please come forward. Dundee Highlands adopted board member is Board Vice President Nancy Zettler. Dundee Crown High School Interim Principal Dr. Asia Gurney and Associate Principal of Operations Kyle Malik. Dundee Crown's adopted board member is Board Secretary Christine Burkett. Hampshire Middle School Principal Nick Poole and Assistant Principals Jessica Murphy and Vicki Rohe.
Man, look at you.
Hampshire Middle's adopted board member is Steve Fiorentino. Gary D. Wright Elementary School Principal Dr. Becky Jers and Assistant Principal Carrie Alstead. Gary D. Wright Elementary School's adopted board member is Leslie Lamarca. She's on the phone, yeah.
Hi, sorry I'm not there.
Liberty Elementary School Principal Stephanie Watson and Assistant Principal Jason Neiman. Liberty's adopted board member is Tola McKinday.
Thanks a lot.
And Dundee Middle School Principal Leo Labrie and Assistant Principal Tom Foster. Dundee Middle's adopted board member is Emmanuel Thomas. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us and recognize our school board tonight. And again, thank you for your service. At this point, I'd like to pass it over to Dr. Smith, who'd like to share a few words.
I'd just like to say thank you again. It's a thankless job. As Mark mentioned, you're elected in, but you're volunteering your time. And we truly appreciate it. We have tons of admin here tonight. They wanted to make sure they said thank you. So we truly appreciate what you're doing for the district.
I tell you what, why don't we just take a 2 or 3 minute break right now, and there you go. Congratulations to everyone. Outstanding job. Yeah. Okay, we're back on the record. Everyone's going to behave tonight, correct? Correct, thank you very much. We will now move to the, and we have no public participation. We will now move to the superintendent report.
I'd like to invite Mrs. Nikki Woodbury and Dr. Melanie Gravel to the podium to give us an update on e-learning.
Good evening, Dr. Smith, members of the board, and meeting attendees. We're officially in the fall season, which is a reminder of the changes in weather trends that we will experience in the coming months leading up to winter. In D300, we're proactively preparing for inclement weather and the possibility of e-learning days. During an e-learning day, all District 300 schools would be closed, and students would engage in lessons virtually instead of attending classes on campus. Unlike school closures that typically require makeup days, e-learning days do not. Last school year, District 300 implemented e-learning days as an option during winter weather. In anticipation of potential e-learning days in the 24-25 school year, we've been preparing for the possibility of e-learning. Our preparations for staff have included reviewing resources and supports that are available for them to utilize. Information has been reviewed with administration, certified and non-certified staff. Additionally, e-learning preparation information and reminders have been and will continue to be communicated to staff in our weekly updates. In the event of an e-learning day, students will access e-learning in Schoology. To prepare students for e-learning, this fall, teachers are providing an orientation of their Schoology page and walking students through what they can anticipate if an e-learning day were to take place. General information on e-learning days was communicated to families via messaging and can be located on the District 300 website. Over the next few weeks, additional information will be sent out by Dr. Smith and the Communications Department. If an e-learning day is necessary, we will provide specific details and instructions at that time. To summarize, we are taking proactive steps to ensure that our students and staff are fully prepared for the potential of e-learning days this winter. From staff professional learning to communication with families, we are committed to maintaining a seamless learning experience regardless of the weather. By planning ahead, we're not only ensuring educational continuity, but we're also giving our community the confidence that we can navigate any challenges that come our way. Thank you to the board, to our staff, our administrators, and families for your continued support as we prepare for successful winter months, no matter what the weather may bring. We look forward to continuing to work together to make this potential transition to e-learning as smooth as possible. Thank you.
Any questions, board members? No? Okay, thank you.
I do just want to clarify, just a little reminder, e-learning is not remote learning. We do not practice remote learning in District 300, and that this is an ongoing process, and we're always getting feedback from Mr. Williamson and his team about how we can make sure that this is seamless for staff and what they need for their students. So, great partnership on that. You guys are just going to keep going. State academic data update.
We will. Good evening again, Dr. Smith, members of the board and meeting attendees. Tonight, Mrs. Woodbury and I will provide an update on our district's academic progress, focusing on key data from the 2024 Illinois Report Card. Recently, the Illinois State Board of Education, also referred to as ISB, released its 2024 Illinois Report Card, and that provides detailed information regarding how each public school in the state is progressing on several components. And some of those components include, but are not limited to, summative designations, graduation rate, student growth and proficiency, student attendance, and student demographics. The Illinois Report Card assigns an annual summative designation to each school. For the 2024 Illinois Report Card, ISB has established 5 summative designation categories. In District 300, 2 schools were recognized as exemplary, 21 as commendable, and 3 as targeted schools. We do not have any schools with the comprehensive or intensive designations. To better understand how designations are determined, we can refer to these pie charts, which may look familiar to you because these visuals have been featured in previous state academic data updates as a way to illustrate how these designations are calculated. For our elementary and middle schools, several indicators are factored into the summative designation, including student growth in English language arts and math, proficiency in English language arts, we also refer to that as ELA, also proficiency in math and science, as well as English learner progress to proficiency, climate survey, and chronic absenteeism. At the elementary and middle school levels, student growth in ELA and math is weighted most heavily and accounts for 50% of the overall score. For high schools, the main academic indicator is graduation rate, which also carries a 50% weight. Although, starting with the 24-25 school year assessments, ISB will begin calculating a growth percentile for high schools. That's not currently a factor that was taken into consideration for the data we're going to be looking at this year. And speaking of that data, now we're going to take a look at some district data, particularly some from the state report card and summative designation indicators that I just mentioned. District 300 is the 6th largest district in Illinois with enrollment of over 20,000 students. Each year, a new cohort of students enters our district while another cohort graduates. Over time, our demographics data indicates changes in our student population. Since 2018, we've seen significant shifts in our student demographics, including increases in our low-income, Hispanic, children with disabilities, which includes both students with IEPs and 504 plans, and our English learner populations. The growth in our English learner population is particularly noteworthy as it's the highest District 300 has ever seen at 23%. These shifts in demographics also reflect broader trends that are seen across our state. Now that we've seen a snapshot of who our learners are in District 300, we need to shift our attention to the challenge district across our nation has faced since the pandemic, which is getting our students back to school and reducing chronic absence rates. In Illinois, chronic absenteeism is defined as a student missing 10% or more of the school days in an academic year with or without valid cause. Chronic absenteeism is one indicator that's factored in a school's summative designation. For elementary and middle schools, this is weighted at 20%, and for high schools, it's weighted at 10% of the overall designation score. In order to support students academically, we need to ensure that they're attending school. In the 21-22 school year, chronic absence rates were at an all-time high in District 300 at 30.9%. Since that time, we've seen an almost 10% reduction in chronic absenteeism. And of particular note, our English learner population experienced a significant reduction in chronic absence rates from the 22-23 year to 23-24, and that represents a 5.7% reduction. We're proud of the efforts that our families have made in partnering with us to ensure their students are attending school regularly, and we will continue to work on strategies to further reduce absenteeism and keep students engaged in their learning. Science proficiency is one of the academic indicators that is factored into a summative designation, and for elementary, middle, and high schools, it contributes to 5% of the overall school's summative score. Science proficiency is determined by the results of the Illinois Science Assessment, which is administered to students in 5th, 8th, and 11th grade. Since 2022, District 300 has seen a slight and steady increase in the percent of students demonstrating science proficiency. The Illinois Assessment of Readiness, also known as IAR, is an assessment students in 3rd through 8th grade take. The IAR assesses students in both ELA, English Language Arts that is, and math. Within these two content areas, IAR assessment data is used to measure student growth and proficiency. In the area of English Language Arts, we have made significant strides. IAR English Language Arts proficiency is one of the elementary and middle school academic indicators weighted at 7.5% of a school's summative designation. Last year, we shared with you that by the end of the 23-24 school year, in the area of ELA, our target was to increase the percent of students proficient on state assessments by 3%. As outlined in Goal 2 of our strategic plan, to support this, we have focused on strengthening our core instructional block in literacy by implementing evidence-based practices, including the science of reading principles, implementing new instructional materials, and providing targeted professional development opportunities to our staff. We continue to observe literacy instruction transforming as a result of these actions. If you visited elementary classrooms during their literacy block, you may recall seeing examples of students applying their skills and knowledge in their reading, writing, and conversations. You may have recalled seeing them using robust vocabulary, being immersed in units of study that enable them to build background knowledge, and engaging in their learning while enjoying a wide variety of text selections. In looking at this data, we have exceeded our goal of increasing the percent of students proficient in ELA by 3%, where we realized a 5.2% increase. This is certainly a celebration because it's representing more students reaching proficiency levels in English Language Arts. We'd like to take this opportunity to recognize our staff for their continued efforts. Transitioning to new instructional materials and methods of instruction is no small feat. I've seen firsthand the shifts in instructional practice that our staff are using and the direct correlation to students seeing greater amounts of success in the area of English Language Arts. The work we're engaging in, it's the right work, and our students are benefiting. While we do celebrate this progress, it is important to acknowledge that ELA proficiency levels are lower than the state average. In 2024, Illinois attained its highest ever proficiency rate for ELA in grades 3 through 8, and that's in part due to the comprehensive literacy plan that Illinois has put into place. In District 300, our efforts in literacy are aligned with this plan and best practices in the field. While we're progressing, we're not there yet. As we continue to build our students' foundational skills and their background knowledge, this is going to result in students progressing through our district with a stronger skill set and knowledge base. Taking that into consideration, also combined with the fact that our staff have increasing experience in implementing these new methods of instruction and new materials, we anticipate continued gains in the area of ELA. As we look at data related to ELA student growth, we'd like to once again highlight that of all indicators at the elementary and middle school level, student growth has the greatest impact on a school's summative designation. Student growth in English Language Arts is weighted at 25% of the overall summative designation. When looking at this data through a lens of continual improvement, it's important to drill down beyond those averages. As an example, we've done that in this chart. The red dotted line represents the state average, which is the 50th growth percentile for ELA in 2024. Slightly below the state average is the District 300 average, which is the 47th growth percentile, represented by the green dotted line. With a district our size, we have 18 elementary schools and 5 middle schools with data factored into that average. There are 6 D300 schools above the state average for student growth. Seeing the range of D300 schools on this chart reminds us of the importance of differentiating our approach to each school and not implementing a one-size-fits-all approach to continual improvement. As you know, District 300 utilizes the school improvement planning process as a vehicle to drive improvement, and each school drafts a plan where ELA is one of the academic areas of focus. The plan includes actionable tasks specific to the improvement of ELA that is tailored to the unique and diverse needs of each school's students. IAR math proficiency is one of the elementary and middle school academic indicators, also weighted at 7.5% of a school summative designation. Last year, we shared that by the end of last school year, in the area of math, our target was to increase the percent of students proficient on state assessments by 3%. While we have seen a gain in the percent of students proficient in math year over year, we did not meet our goal of a 3% increase from 23 to 24, where our actual increase in students proficient was 1.8%. This increase was above the state average of 1.4%, resulting in District 300's 2024 math proficiency data to be slightly higher than the state data. Both District 300 and Illinois data indicate that gains in math are not as significant as those we just reviewed for English language arts. At the state level, the Illinois State Board of Education is launching a statewide effort to develop a comprehensive math and numeracy plan to accelerate math recovery following its model of the comprehensive literacy plan that we mentioned earlier. To get out ahead of this, until Illinois Comprehensive Math and Numeracy Plan is available, District 300 is taking a similar approach to addressing low proficiency rates in math by focusing on equipping staff with research on best practice math instruction and re-engaging staff with a more explicit focus on the standards for mathematical practice, which are a set of guidelines that describe the habits and practices of proficient mathematicians. If you visit our elementary classrooms recently during their math block, you may recall seeing examples of students using tools to solve math problems. These tools could include paper and pencil, math manipulatives, a ruler. You may have also seen students working cooperatively in groups to write an addition equation or some other type of equation to describe a situation that they're presented with. Re-engaging with the focus on these habits and practices of proficient mathematicians that are outlined in the standards for mathematical practice will support our development of proficient mathematicians in District 300. As we look at data related to math student growth, we'd like to highlight that this is weighted at 25% of the overall summative designation. We looked at a similar chart in ELA. And here, we have 9 District 300 schools above the state average for student growth in math. Again, when we see the range of D300 schools on this chart, it reminds us of the importance of differentiating our approach, which is accomplished again through the school improvement planning process, where each school has drafted a plan with actionable tasks specific to the improvement of math that's tailored to the unique and diverse needs of that school's students. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Nikki Woodbury. Mrs. Woodbury will be sharing academic updates for high school.
Thank you, Dr. Gravel. Good evening. As we transition to the high school data, it's important to review a few points mentioned at the start of our presentation. In Illinois, recovery from the pandemic has been impressive in many areas, particularly for students in grades 3 through 8. We've seen high graduation rates and significant progress in early grade level proficiency in both District 300 and across the state of Illinois. But when it comes to high school, there is still some work to be done. While graduation rates continue to be high, proficiency rates in high school English language arts and math have been slightly on the decline across the district and state. In order to frame this portion of the presentation, it's important to note again the differences in Illinois' accountability measures for high school and elementary. In elementary and middle schools, 50% of a school's accountability score is based on a year-over-year student growth, incentivizing continuous improvement and academic rigor. But high schools are evaluated differently. For them, graduation rates account for half of their score, and academic growth is not accounted for at all in these designations for our high schools. This system might encourage high schools to focus on getting students to graduate and doesn't necessarily hold them accountable in the designation for improving student performance year over year. Proficiency rates measure the student's ability to meet set standards, but they do not capture how much a student has improved over the course of the school year. That is why, starting for the 24-25 school year, the state of Illinois will be adding a new growth percentile for our high schools. This will measure how much each student has grown, no matter where they've started. This new measure will provide a more comprehensive view of high school performance, ensuring that schools focus on both graduation rates and student academic growth. We look forward to these changes and are confident that they will further enhance our ability to support high school students in reaching their full academic potential. It's about balancing graduation success with academic growth so that every student has the opportunity to reach that potential. With that said, it is important to acknowledge and celebrate that District 300 continues to maintain a 95% graduation rate, which is consistently higher than the state's graduation rate. Additionally, students in District 300 participating in Career and Technical Education, or CTE, concentrators, which means a secondary student who has completed at least 2 courses in a single career and technical education program or career pathways, have higher graduation rates than their peers. As we continue to look to expand our CTE programming, this is a celebration for our students and their educational paths. As you know, District 300 continues to expand our CTE programming. Even though the number of students have decreased slightly, we are confident that we are providing a plethora of opportunities for our students in CTE, dual credit, and advanced placement courses. We are also excited to see that we were able to provide more opportunities in CTE for our EL and low economic status students. As previously stated, District 300 is proud of the wide variety of educational opportunities we've provided students that lead to high school graduation and post-secondary college and/or career experiences while still in high school. Last year, we added 7 new CTE dual credit courses. And while we continue to partner with ECC, we offer many dual credit courses at our high schools taught by District 300 staff. Dual credit provides full-time opportunities, part-time enrollment, and building-based experiences for all of our students. Another area to highlight and celebrate for our high school students is their AP exam pass rate, which was almost 74%. These students who take College Board advanced placement exams and score a 3 or higher are eligible for post-secondary course credit at Illinois public colleges and universities. These credits will apply towards fulfilling degree requirements. This is another example how we're able to provide our students access to post-secondary opportunities while still in our high schools. As we transition to SAT proficiency data, it's important again to note that in Illinois, the SAT serves as both a college entrance exam and it is the required state assessment for high school students to demonstrate college and career readiness in order to earn a regular high school diploma. Just prior to the start of the 23-24 school year, the state of Illinois officially announced that they were moving away from SAT and would be shifting to the ACT after the 23-24 school year. Not only that, it was also announced that the assessment would be moving from a paper format to a digital platform, which was a significant shift for our students and our staff. That said, we do recognize that our proficiency levels in both ELA and math on the SAT are not as good as they could be. We also want to recognize that we have work to do in order to better serve all of our students. All 3 high schools and Oak Ridge have a targeted plan for freshmen on track, which will address early intervention for academic needs. Additionally, we have professional development at each building grounded in the PLC process in order to better support our teacher collaborative teams to make instructional decisions. And as you know, all of our schools have individualized school improvement plans that address academic needs and identify their action steps. Building leadership and collaborative teams are implementing a wide range of action items in their buildings in order to continue to address this. In conclusion, as you are aware, our strategic plan continues to guide the work we do in our schools. School improvement plans are designed to ensure a clear goal and continual growth and improvement. As we reflect on our successes, we also recognize the areas that required some continued focus. Our commitment to continuous improvement remains at the forefront of our efforts, and we will continue to build our gains in ELA and math proficiencies, focusing on reducing chronic absenteeism, expanding our opportunities in CTE, dual credit and AP courses, and support the PLC process for collaboration in order to ensure growth and academic rigor. And while we gave a holistic overview of our state report card data, we have looked into each subgroup in order to determine specific supports needed in each area at each individual school. District 300 is committed to ensuring every student is prepared for success, both academically and personally. We will continue to collaborate with families, staff, and our community in order to help our students reach their full potential. While the data we collect plays an important role in assessing our progress towards preparing our students for post-secondary opportunities, it's also essential to recognize that our students are more than just these numbers. Each student is unique, and their growth extends beyond academic achievement in order to include vital life skills such as persistence, motivation, and time management. As we move forward, we must remain grounded in our mission and our vision of ensuring that our students are not only academically prepared, but also equipped for success in both college and their future careers. Readiness is a balance of academic learning and personal development, and we are committed to fostering both. Through student voice, professional learning communities, and strengthening our partnerships, we will continue to provide engaging and inclusive educational experiences. Ultimately, we continue to challenge ourselves to make necessary improvements to better equip and empower our students, ensuring that they are prepared to succeed on their own personalized pathways. Thank you for your time this evening.
Board members, any questions? I've got one, Nikki.
Sure.
I believe you talked about the growth measurement.
Yep.
Okay. What percent, do you know what percent that's going to be?
I do not at this
They haven't
time.
said it yet?
No, the only announcement they've made at this time that I am aware of is that it will be included in next year's designation for our high schools.
Okay. And then probably the graduation rate, that'll still be around 50%, I'm guessing.
I'm not sure on the specific percentage, but it will still, as far as what they have released, it will still be a component of the designation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I just want to add what's critical with not knowing the growth point yet. The focus that we've already identified on subgroups, if we focus on subgroups and not just one top number overall, then we're looking at each group of kids and each group of kids and their growth. And so we're already taking the steps without knowing the target yet.
Good. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to have Mrs. Jennifer Porter come to the podium for the tentative levy update.
Good evening again. One of the things I wanted to tie in after your guys' update is that this levy accounts for about 65% of the revenue that does go to support these programs. So I think that's really important to know. Whoops, backwards. District 300 is subject to the property tax extension limitation law. Therefore, the overall taxes that we extend yearly are limited to those rates, generally the lesser of 5% or CPI. Per the property tax process, the district submits its tax requests to the county clerk's office by the last Tuesday in December. In the spring, the assessor's office finalizes the EAV and takes into account all of the market conditions at that time. The county clerk sets the maximum allowable tax rate, and therefore the taxing bodies approve the final tax rate used on the property tax bill, and that is why we are here tonight. There are 5 items that go into the property tax computation: the prior year cap tax extension, the consumer price index, also known as CPI, the valuation of property in District 300, known as EAV, any new property, and then what amount our bond and interest debt payments are during the levy year. Because the district resides in 4 separate counties, we overestimate our request to accommodate any unforeseen variances related to the final EAV and new property that will be used in the calculation in April. We get pre-estimates right now, but again, they're only estimates. Our assumption in our ask are estimates, and we look at prior year EAV at $5.2 billion, which is a 3.5% increase of total EAV from last year's levy, which was at $5 billion. We overestimate our new property at $125 million. This includes a $50 million cushion for any new property that's not included in the projections of our assessors. Adding these 2 line items, the total EAV is assumed to be $5.3 billion. We're estimating prior year change of last year's EAV at 3.5, and finally, again, as we talked about, CPI is 3.4%. Our far right column shows what we are projecting utilizing the information we have today and what we believe that the actual numbers will be utilizing this data. The only thing we really see changing in our assumption is the $50 million cushion is removed, and so our new property is estimated at $75 million. So with our ask, again, is an overestimated amount. We'd go from $253 million from last year for a total extension to $272 million for this year's extension. If you look at the overall tax rate, you'll see that it increases from 5.5 cents to 5.13. Again, in our ask, we want to overestimate our levy to capture any new dollars associated with any additional EAV that might come on the books. Because if we don't claim that property, we'll never get the opportunity to get that property tax revenue back to our district. Due to state statutes, there are maximum rates that we are limited to. For example, in special education fund, the max rate is 80 cents, which is highlighted in purple. Under the ask, the calculated rate increases to 83 cents. However, because of the max rate, the county clerk's office will ensure that we're only limited to that 80-cent max rate. When we do calculations with the expected EAV of $75 million, which is in the far right, the district expects to actually collect $262 million for levy year 2024. We're also projecting the overall tax rate will drop from $5.05 to $4.98. Again, with the estimates from the county, the rate looks to decrease by 7 cents. Data provided by the Kane County Supervisor of Assessments indicates that the average assessed value of homes within District 300 boundaries is $316,000. In this slide, we show the difference for a homeowner with an established home value of $316,000 for tax year 2023. For a home that was valued at $316,000 in 2023 and sees a 3.5 increase in their assessed valuation for tax year 2024, their projected District 300 tax rate would reduce from $5.05 to $4.98. However, the District 300 taxes would increase by $115 as a result of the increased market value, and that is only the district's portion. The district doesn't have any control over what the assessed valuations are. For the same home that was valued at $316,000 in 2023, and if that property sees zero increase in market value, their projected district tax rate would again reduce from $5.05 to $4.98. However, their District 300 taxes would decrease by $69. Again, these figures are based on preliminary information that we have today. The actual tax rates will not be known until April or May. This is a pretty exciting chart, I will say. This chart shows the last 10 years of the district's tax levy information. As you can see, the lowest CPI in the last 10 years was in 2016 at 0.7%, and the highest previous was the last 2 years at 5%. The district's EAV was at its lowest point in 2014 due to the recession, when home valuations declined. After 2014, the EAV has steadily increased up to $5 billion in levy year 2023. In levy year 2021, new property was at its highest due to the Sears facility coming on our tax rolls. The district's tax rate has continued to decrease since 2015, which has been good for all of our taxpayers. Whoops. Later tonight, the board will be asked on voting on the adopting the tentative levy resolution. The resolution will be to approve the tentative levy and authorize the district to post the required legal ad between December 3rd and December 10th, notifying the public of the hearing for the 2024 levy on December 17th. At that meeting, any taxpayer or anyone in the public can come and speak about the levy. The board will then vote that night on the adoption of the 2024 certificate of tax levy, and then we will file the tax levy with all 4 of the counties. As I said earlier, in April 2025, the county clerks will finalize the tax rate, and in May 2025, the district will begin to receive property tax dollars associated with this levy. I thank you for your time, and if there are any questions, please let me know.
Board members, any questions? Nope. Okay, thank you.
Mr. John Hummel with a quick recap to clarify a couple items from our previous meeting.
Correct. So thank you for having me tonight. I'm just doing a quick recap on our school utilization. So again, just showing we are increasing in student population every year. We are even more students than we were when I presented this in September, about 17 students above. Again, this is just to illustrate we are growing. There's housing developments either in production or projected all over our district. So this is why we have to keep this kind of stuff in mind, because this is what drives our decision making. So my last meeting, this slide seemed to be the one that caused a little bit of confusion, so I just want to give a little bit of clarity on what this actually means. Okay, so this slide is representing our pre-K through 5 general education class level utilization. Here we analyze each school's full-size classroom capacity and compare it with the number of classrooms required for optimal grade level general education sections. So the process is, based on the projected student enrollment per grade, we calculate the number of general education sections needed, with each section requiring a full-size classroom. So this analysis helps us understand where there is flexibility and where capacity is stretched. So if we look at our middle section, you'll see there are schools that say there's 3 to 6 available full-size classrooms, which could be reallocated if additional sections are needed. This doesn't mean there are spaces that are idle. It simply means that they are not designated for full-size general education sections at this time. So when we look at schools like Lincoln Prairie, Newbert, and Hampshire, we know that they are using all their available space for students. However, based on our projections and the known housing developments, we do not foresee a growth within their boundaries that would require us to review their current classroom utilization. So meanwhile, on the right side with our schools that are in red, they are fully utilizing all available full-size classrooms, indicating a need to address any additional enrollment pressures proactively. So this insight helps us strategically plan for growth, ensuring that we'll be well prepared to meet our students' needs all across the schools. So when we look at our secondary schools, the calculation is not based on our section need, it's based on our capacity for student instruction in classrooms. So we look at how much capacity the school can hold, and this is how many students towards that capacity, and you can see that we are getting to that capacity at a couple of our secondary buildings coming up in the couple of years. So when we come to our next steps, we're going to look at the student impact, then determine the cost, and all of this is framed around our master facility plan.
If you could go back to the less than 2 slide. I do also in the less than 2 column want to clarify. Dundee Highlands is a school that's pretty much, there's no new land developments around there when we look at where our housing developments are. So that would be in the category with Newbert and Lincoln Prairie and Hampshire, where we know they're using their full school building, but those aren't the places we're anticipating the housing developments and a huge change in numbers of students, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Questions from the board?
Board members, anything? Oh, good job, thank you. Item number 9, any updates regarding the board committees? 9.1, 9.11, the Board Operations Committee?
Yes, the next Board Operations Committee meeting will be Tuesday, December 10th at 4:30.
Okay. The ad hoc committees. Board members?
Excuse me, hold on. Leslie and Mark and I met once for the handbook committee and read over the 2 latest iterations of the handbook, and we're comparing them and contrasting them, and also trying to make decisions on maybe some reorganization of certain things. Our next meeting is going to be the beginning of next month.
Okay. Any other board members?
Yes, I can speak to the Superintendent Evaluation Committee that Tola and I serve on. We've set our goal, which is to identify ways to improve upon our superintendent evaluation process. We will aim to develop an effective and efficient tool and process that holds the superintendent accountable for their responsibilities and district performance, that promotes district improvement and provides professional development and growth opportunities. We'll look to make some recommendations to the board for review, discussion, and consideration after we've had a chance to do that work. Our timeline, we're thinking, is to run from November through March. We think that will allow us some time to be able to discuss with the entire board and bring forward what we find so we can all come to a consensus on how we'd like to move forward. We will be giving monthly updates at upcoming board meetings, and I will be attending at the III conference a whole session on a superintendent evaluation. So we're thinking that that will be a good jump start to looking at possible tools and processes, and I'll share that with Tola after the conference, and then we'll bring more information to the rest of the board as well.
Okay. Nancy, do you want to do the policy committee?
Sure. As a policy committee, right now we are in the process of reading through the existing policies, setting it, and since they're voluminous, setting an end of the year deadline to get through that, and then to meet and discuss what changes, if any, we believe should be made.
Okay. Continue with the board discussion. Do you want to do the board resolutions?
Sure. So hopefully everyone took time to read the resolutions that will be up for vote at the III conference on Saturday, November 23rd. There are a number of items that are up for discussion, and I will be serving as the delegate for our district, and so I'll need to get a consensus among the board members on how we would like to cast District 300's vote on these resolutions. Just so everyone knows that these Resolutions are position statements often that are going to be brought to legislators and other people who make decisions on these matters. But this is our chance as a district to weigh our thoughts on proposed resolutions that would push policy and things that would help potentially the district moving forward. So I can go through them. Hopefully, like I said, everyone took a chance to read them. There are, I should have counted, 6 resolutions that are on the consent agenda. That means that if no one votes to pull them off of the consent agenda, we will just vote at one time, and it will cover all of those resolutions. And I also had asked if someone from administration could also give us their input, as that's important as well, you know, on some of these resolutions, so that we need your opinions as well. So the first resolution is a resolution that surrounds dual language. It is recommended, again, these have all been recommended by the review panel of IASB to approve. That particular resolution addresses the fact that it was brought forth by U46 that dual language programs, students are studying dual language, you know, throughout their entire career as students, and they would like more flexibility when they finally arrive in high school to use other coursework to help them achieve their certificate of biliteracy. So the committee analysis was that they determined that providing additional flexibility and allowing reasonable alternative qualifications such as the seal of biliteracy to meet world language graduation requirements is a benefit to students. So sorry, I misspoke. It's not to get the seal, it's to meet their graduation requirements. So they recommended that that would be something that we should adopt. Did anyone have any thoughts on that particular resolution?
Are you looking for our votes?
Yeah, like
or-
your feedback, because
I
we
believe
need to-
you did send out a review, didn't you?
Yes, what would support our students in our system, yes.
Right. And I really agreed with, thank you for the staff that put
Yeah.
that together. I didn't have any, I do want to talk about one of them in detail, but
Okay.
I'll wait till you get to that. But
Okay. So if no one has an objection to that one, I think we can go ahead and follow the guidance of adopting that one. Item number 2 is evidence-based authorization charter school funding. Basically, it's asking to use the same evidence-based funding approach that we use for our current schools for any charter schools. And again, the committee recommends adopting that. Did anyone have any comments on that?
makes sense.
I know you asked us earlier to send comments. I sent you all mine.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't pull all those up.
Yeah, I agree with it. It's fine.
Yeah, and I think for the community, it's nice to hear it, not just what I read in my email, so. Okay, so if no one has a problem with that one?
And in our summary, we agreed because it again supports all District 300 students.
Okay, wonderful. Item number 3 is tax increment or TIF accountability. So they are suggesting that because this, we talk about TIFs a lot in the operations committee meeting, that TIFs sometimes place an undue burden on school districts diverting funds that are meant for education away to other projects. And in fact, in here, part of the summary, I liked that they put in here that in Cook County, for example, it results in a 10% increase in the property tax burden of citizens because of this diversion of tax dollars. So they're asking to set up a committee and some accountability that would provide more fairness in the issuance of TIFs.
And right now, there's very little accountability, very, very little.
Yeah, so I assumed, Nancy, that you would be in favor of.
I am in favor, yes.
Of this one, and that everyone else would be as well. Okay. Item 4, Resolution 4 is face law, and they're looking for a centralized agency for employment history reviews, which are abbreviated EHRs. The thought there is that there's some accountability that needs to happen, and that it's can be onerous and burdensome for districts to have to check with multiple to complete multiple employment history reviews for applicants. So the recommendation was that establishing an agency that would help with that would be beneficial to all districts.
In our feedback agreed not only due to the burden on our current staff, but it also helps us expedite getting staff in front of students sooner when needed.
Great, so everyone?
Agreed.
I totally agree on that one.
Okay, good. Item 5 is healthcare coverage. It talks about creating a unified healthcare plan and consolidation so that it would maybe be more beneficial to smaller districts that they could buy their health insurance as a larger group. And help with health insurance costs. Did anyone have any concerns about that?
As you heard in the operations meeting today, we're in a real good spot in our district with that.
Right,
so.
right. That's the only thing I kind of wondered is, I know because we're a larger district, we have kind of that buying power already, if you will, but is there any concern that it would impact like our flexibility in the type of plans that we can offer?
If I say something I'm not supposed to say, I might call a friend, Ms. Porter. The fact that District 300, we are what is called a self-funded plan. That means that the district pays fully all claims for all of our employees. We, in being a large unit school district, we're at a great advantage in working with our health insurance consultant to broker the best rates we can with all of our insurers as we presented in the operations meeting. You are 100% correct that something like this, a co-op of smaller districts would afford them the ability to negotiate better pricing. And fortunately for us in Northern Illinois, we are, especially in King County, we're large school districts. Although they are all the districts that have formed co-ops for certain things, this might be helpful for some of the small one-building school districts would definitely benefit from something like this. We as a district, we are, somebody indicated before, the 6th largest in the state of Illinois. We do carry a little bit of weight. So something like that would help others. I would, my opinion at this point, be neutral one way or the other. I don't know, Ms. Porter, will have anything additional to add to this topic?
I think the only thing I would add is there are some co-ops currently that small districts are a part of, and I think it is definitely advantageous for those districts. It's really important. That's just my 2 cents.
Right, thank you. Does anyone else have any thoughts on that?
Can I just suggest, though, that we keep an eye on the rates that that comes out of something like this, just to make sure that we are still competitive?
How often do you meet on this?
We do. We have actually a monthly insurance committee meeting. Representatives from all 3 unions are engaging. Our health insurance consultant always is attempting and will push for every company to sharpen their pencil and provide the best rates possible. So we do stay competitive. Okay. From time to time, we do see spikes, but we try to collaborate to make sure that if we need to make any plan design changes are brought through the insurance committee. And now I might tap into another friend, that's Mr. Williamson.
Yeah, I didn't want to put him on the spot, but did you have anything you wanted to add, Mike?
No, I think I'm okay. Okay, but we are, it's a very active insurance committee, and we review this information on a monthly basis.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So is everyone okay with voting to, okay. Then item 6 is a resolution to amend an existing position statement, and it centers around polling places. And it's amendment to position statement 7.08, where they're changing the language. It's around whether or not we would have to close all schools if we weren't using schools as a polling place. So it would allow schools to actually, I believe, refuse to be, sorry. It mandates that we would not have to close if none of the buildings within the district were serving as a polling place. The committee determined that if a school is not being used as a polling place, the safety of the students is not at risk, and therefore it could be left up to school and local control as to whether the district observes the election day as a designated state holiday. And they're recommending that we do make that change. Everyone okay with that one?
So let me make sure I understand. If there are no schools in the district, no matter how big or small, that is being used as a polling place, then the school district can decide not to close down for the day?
I believe that's what it says. Sorry, let me read it again.
That's okay.
Reread it.
That's what my understanding was, but I want to make sure that I'm.
The current mandate applies to all schools across Illinois, irrespective of whether any district's buildings are utilized for polling places. So basically, all schools on election day are closed in the state. There
Right.
must be some districts where they have no schools that are used as polling places because other venues have used, and so they would want to not have to close district-wide on election day.
My concern about that is the big reason that we have that holiday is so that a lot of people who don't necessarily have access to being able to vote can take that time and vote, and it's paid holiday. So that's my big concern, and I think, school districts, it depends on who's making that decision for the school districts, right? Is that the staff, or is that the administration, is that the board? So I would be inclined not to support that, but I'm only one of 7.
Yeah, it would be up to local control rather than being mandated through this. So, I mean, I kind of could see both sides of it as well. It's nice that it gives everyone an opportunity who works for us as well. Part of the reason they say, though, that may not be needed is because there are alternatives now, like early voting and mail-in voting. So I could kind of go either way on that as well.
My vote is to not support it.
Hi, this is Leslie. I would wholeheartedly agree with what Ms. Sattler just said, and I would also not support that amendment or that one.
Did you get that?
Yes, yeah, so Leslie was a no, so.
Tola?
I mean, I can go either way, but I'll say no as well.
Okay.
Okay. Steve?
Yeah, I'll go along with the recommendation by the resolution committee as well as the district.
So you're yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. I can go last.
Oh, yes.
You're yes? Okay. I think I will go no. So that would be 4-3, so we would vote no on that one. Okay, moving along, then there are resolutions that are eligible for appeal, which means that currently we would not be voting on them unless someone during the meeting appeals that decision and enough people vote in favor of it, then it would put it back on as a voting item. I think this is the one that you wanted to talk about, Steve, which was cell phone usage. The resolution requests that the Illinois legislature consider legislation that empowers school boards to adopt policy regarding the use of students' wireless communication devices. Specifically, schools will be required to create policy that states that students may not use wireless communications during instructional time, except in certain cases, for example, monitoring a health condition or included in the individual in their IEP. A teacher or school administrator may designate a location for wireless devices, such devices must be silenced and put away as directed. The legislation would, I'm just going to read because it's pretty important, the wording here, I think. Legislation would allow students to prohibit the use of wireless communication devices during lunchtime and transitioning periods between classes. In addition, IASB shall request that the Illinois State Legislature consider legislation that requires every school district to adopt a policy that prohibits and prevents students' access to social media on internet access provided by the school district and district-owned devices, except when expressly directed by a teacher for educational purposes. And then they go on to cite many of the studies that show that cell phone usage and social media usage is is maybe not the best for our students, including various states and other countries who have mandated school-free or phone-free schools. The committee recommended to not adopt this based on the fact that they think this should be best governed locally with local control. So they don't dispute the fact that there might be a need for this, but they think it should be local control. So, Steve, did you want to go ahead since I know?
Just a couple comments. I also am in agreement. I think it is best to leave that to local school districts. But clearly, this is a subject that's taken on a lot of conversation around the country and internationally. I know several school districts surrounding us are either talking about it and or have implemented something around cell phone. I thought the committee analysis was good to read, Christine, and if I could just read that first comment. It says, the committee agreed that the cell phone usage during school is a growing concern and that research shows that it can negatively impact instructional time and mental health. So, you know, with that and listening to educators, I think it's something that our district should look into. You know, I would be one that would ask our superintendent to decide how and what to do, but I wouldn't want to be the last school district to do something regarding this issue that's being talked about all over. So, you know, those are my comments. I do agree with it. I don't want to suggest that the legislature takes this up at this time and mandates something across all school districts because every one of us is very different, but I do think it should be part of our conversation and part of a plan going forward.
I do want to remind the board that you all had been updated recently that we're under a partnership with Hanover Research to do work with our district about this. So we are already in working on that. I'll leave it right there. We're already working on that. We'll bring another update. So I just want to make sure it's heard today that we are already doing something. And so we'll bring another update on that.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because I do tend to agree that at least for now, local control and making a decision that fits the needs of our community, at least hearing what those are is going to be important to get buy-in for any kind of change we might want to make.
Yeah, so I think
well.
what's critical to know about that is there's gonna survey, focus groups, all those things about all of our stakeholders. And something that I think that's important for us to maintain the local control is that District 300 is made up of multiple communities. We don't just have a one-size-fits-all. This is how we are in our multiple different communities that make up our 3 feeder patterns. So I think that's our uniqueness with this, is that it's all very different, and we will get to probably a very unique, what can we live with on this in the future.
Okay, anyone else want to comment on that one? So is everyone else okay with going with no if they take it and put it actually up to a vote?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely agree. We need to look into it as we're looking into it already.
Okay, then item 8 is Office of Inspector General. I'm sorry, I read all these right before I came here, and it's been a long day. But basically, this is establishing that they would like to possibly have an office to like a state office that would ensure accountability, transparency, and the efficient use of public funds, that would manage not only the employees, the superintendent, and the school board members, so that there would be some office that would be oversight for that. The committee recommended to not adopt, and the reason why is that the committee felt that oversight and accountability for public schools, while it's of the utmost importance, there are many laws and processes currently in place that already apply, and that legal remedies already exist to hold school districts accountable, and expanding or creating a new state agency would not be necessary.
Yeah.
Anyone have any thoughts on? Okay. Number 9 was face law again. This resolution was that was whether it should be so similar employee checks, employee history reviews would be done for all current employees. Faith's law only applies to new hires, is my understanding. So this particular resolution was to put in, to try and go backward and conduct those same reviews for current employees. And the resolution committee analysis was that doing so for current employees could cause confusion, impose legal and collective bargaining challenges, and that given these challenges, employment decisions are best left to each local district and its attorneys. So again, local control over what we would want to do for current employees. Did anyone have any agree on that one? So do not adopt that one. Item 10 was criminal background checks. It was to put in criminal background checks that candidates running for school board would have to submit along with their petitions in order to be able to run and to get on the ballot. And the committee's analysis was that they didn't think it was needed, as we have to declare that if we've committed certain crimes, we have to self-report basically that we've done that and we are not eligible then to run, and that it could cause financial and barriers, even to just employee or candidates even running for the office. So does anyone have any thoughts on whether? All right, no one?
I think we should submit the criminal background checks.
So you would like that to be required in order to even get your name on the ballot, that you have to submit a background check in advance, okay? Does anyone else? Tola, Leslie, anyone?
Les, do you have anything to say on that one?
No, I guess the only thing I don't really understand why they think it would be a financial obstacle. I've never had to pay for. Do you have to pay for a criminal background
Yes.
check normally? I've never had to do that, so I don't know.
Some people may not be able to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the point.
How much is it?
Depends.
Yeah.
Depends how intensive they want it. It depends.
It depends on what.
Yeah, right.
Could be a
level
couple
3, level
$100,
1, it could
right.
be, yeah.
And the other issue was too, other candidates do not have to do this as well. So like a trustee for your town, they're not subject to this. So it would be a specific burden only on a school board candidate.
Well, and I guess the other question to me would be what things would count the person out? Like there has to be specifics, parameters around that.
Right.
Is
We
there
already
any
have
language that
yeah.
identifies that, Christine?
We already have to say that we have not committed crimes including felonies, bribery, perjury, domestic violence, or are a sex offender.
Okay. I could go either way on that one. I see a reason to not do it, but I kind of feel like why not? So I'm kind of neutral.
I mean, doesn't those kind of things come out anyways if you're running? Like if you have those kind of background situation, wouldn't something like that come out anyways? Are they saying that the situations where it doesn't come out, is that why they're proposing this? I mean, I can see why, because of all the craziness going on these days, but
They
at the
didn't
same
say
time-
why they
okay.
felt it was needed. Yeah, no other candidates have to do that.
I mean, yeah.
Almost every place else but school.
So
I
we
mean, criminals are getting elected, so like, it doesn't matter. Criminals are getting elected, so it doesn't even matter.
True that.
So we had one, Nancy was, I think, the only one who was for yes for sure. Anyone else? A yes for sure. Okay,
Go
so I
along with
think
the recommendation.
going with the recommendation then, moving along. I think that's it, because the
think-
other
yeah.
resolutions are not eligible for appeal, so they will not, there's no chance that they would pop up. So thank you, everyone. They have a sheet in the back of this book, so I will mark it as such, and I will report back what happens at the delegate assembly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 10, the consent items. Do I have a motion to approve the consent items?
Second?
Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Zettler? Thomas? Fiorentino?
Aye.
Burkett, aye. Scarpino?
Aye.
Lamarca?
Aye.
McKindy?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. May I have a motion to remove item 11.5 from the roll call action items?
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
I'm sorry, who was first?
Nancy was, and then Tola was second.
Okay. Zettler? McKindy?
Aye.
Lamarca?
Aye.
Burkett, aye. Scarpino?
Aye.
Thomas? Fiorentino?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Roll call action items. 11.1, approval of custodial supplies and equipment contracts. Do I have a motion for the approval of custodial supplies and equipment contracts extensions?
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Zettler? Thomas? Scarpino?
Aye.
Fiorentino?
Aye.
McKindy?
Aye.
Lamarca?
Aye.
Burkett, aye. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 11.2, approval of employee benefits contracts renewals. Do I have a motion for the approval of employee benefits contracts renewals?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
McKindy?
Aye.
Zettler?
Aye.
Thomas? Lamarca?
Aye.
Fiorentino?
Aye.
Scarpino?
Aye.
Burkett, aye. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 11.3, approval of energy contract renewals. Do I have a motion for the approval of the energy contract renewal? Second. Any discussion? Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Thomas? Scarpino?
Aye.
Burkett, aye. Zettler?
Aye.
Lamarca?
Aye.
McKindy?
Aye.
Fiorentino?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 11.4, approval of tentative levy and resolutions and approval to publish public hearing notice. Do I have a motion for the approval of the tentative levy and resolutions and approval to publish the public hearing notice?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Zettler?
Aye.
McKindy?
Aye.
Lamarca?
Aye.
Thomas? Burkett, aye. Fiorentino?
Aye.
Scarpino?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Zettler?
Aye.
Thomas? Fiorentino?
Aye.
Scarpino? McKindy?
Aye.
Lamarca?